Why, hello and welcome back. So it's been about a month since I've last posted a video on this channel. I've been in Germany, drove this over there, absolutely amazing, and I've had a cold, hence why I haven't filmed since I've gone back. So I figured I'll do a quick update video on to how all my projects are doing in the car. So to begin with, as you notice, the mirrors are currently folded up on the car, and when I unlock the car, the mirrors will automatically open up again. I've managed to unlock that using DAS on the car and through various coding options. But also regarding the PC now is properly power managed, so it's always on in the back of the car, but it's off until CAN wakes up. So I can quickly demo this here. If you look through at the display, you'll see that it's currently off. As soon as I unlock the car and open the door, here's the display comes on, and there are the mirrors opening up. So let's go inside whilst this boots up. So it does take a couple of minutes for it to boot up, which is the only issue, but if I'm walking from my house to here and I unlock the car at my door, by the time I sit in the car, it's ready to go, as you can see here. So let's pop the key in so the car stays awake. Automatically, if the CAN network on the car goes to sleep, then after 20 more seconds, the PC will be shut down by the module in the back. As you can also see by this bar down here, I'm actually now running a window manager on here. This is i3 window manager. I do have some future plans for that, but the TCU config app still runs on here as always. And yeah, I can see down here my Ethernet and IP connection, so that way when I'm tethering to my other phone, for instance, I normally have my laptop and the PC tethered together, either via Ethernet or via my phone. I'm planning to move to a dedicated Ethernet port, like on the side here, put an Ethernet port in which goes all the way to the back of the car. So that way I can basically do diagnostic over IP or actually send files via IP and IP controller, because that's much faster than using a mobile hotspot, and it also doesn't drain my phone battery, which is always good. Now the main thing is, whilst I was in Germany, I was able to work on the IC communication protocol to emulate the audio gateway module. So if we go here, give it a minute for it to refresh this page. I don't know why it takes forever. There we go. We see Bluetooth no device on here, and you can see I'm working on the Navi page right now. The Navi page is proving to be an absolute pain to reverse engineer, because you can send like a bunch of metadata to it. I'll see if I can throw up some documentation I have so far on screen. But anyway, if we go to the Bluetooth page, so this is currently using the Blues API to listen out to what my phone's trying to do, and to essentially control Bluetooth audio and stuff. So anyway, if we go to my phone now, and I go to Bluetooth, you will see I've got W211 E55. If I connect to this and give it a second, there we go, we see 1+9 is connected, which is what my phone is. And then I can go to, let me actually turn the volume all the way down on here first, so if that does work. I'll turn the volume down on my phone as well so we don't start blurring this out. But if we go to my liked songs, okay, you can start seeing it playing stuff. But anyway, if I play some, there we go. So if I play some music out here with a short track name, you'll notice like my project in the 203, it displays it as one line, and I can seek for it. Let me see if I can turn this up. There we go, so it's playing now. And if I change tracks to something which is a little bit longer, the code which is running on the PC, sending ISOTP frames to the cluster, automatically detects that the string is too long to display on the cluster in one go. The cluster has, I think, a maximum text buffer of 26 characters, or is it 20 on this page? I'm not too sure. So let me see if I can find a slightly longer song. There we go, this one. It will start cycling the text, and you can see I've added the ellipses at the end, so I know, for instance, that it's cycling the text, and it changes it every 2 seconds. So yeah, this is so far coming along pretty well. Anyway, let me exit out of music, because we don't need that anymore. Now, as for my plans for this page, well, I eventually plan to get Google Maps running on the head unit itself, and then I've essentially got my own, or using OpenStreetMaps or whatever, and I'll eventually have my own navigation system, which will all be self-contained in the PC. I don't know why I'm pointing here. The PC is actually in the boot, but I think this is easier because it's just a display module. And then that will relay the instrument cluster text onto here. Also, potentially, we might be able to get Curvematic working. So this was a feature which one of my friends discovered was a thing. I never saw it on my stock command system, but the IC does actually support it. where if you're traveling fast down a road and there's a bend coming up, the GPS module sees that there's a bend coming up on the road you're going and quickly displays like an icon here to tell you that there's a curve coming, and it can essentially interrupt whatever the cluster is doing to show you like, hello, there's a curve, you should probably slow down. So that's pretty cool. Now also, one thing that I thought I should mention is that the touchscreen, as you can see here, is working fine. Now, I don't know if you saw my Twitter, but at one point, just before I left for Germany, I actually broke the touchscreen controller on this, and within like 3 days, I had to essentially recreate the touchscreen controller. So let me quickly open this up here and I'll show you how I did that. Now that it's out, I can show you this. So this is the HDMI to iPad screen converter board. You can buy these from AliExpress. But as you can see here, this here is the ribbon cable from the touch panel, which is the controller for the touch panels down here. So I think it's a GT911 controller IC. I believe it talks over I2C or SPI, I can't exactly remember. But anyway, that's the old board for the touchscreen controller, and what happened is essentially there was a short circuit when it had touched something here, and it blew that STM controller which was on there. Now, I could order one of these, except they wanted £60 for one of these, and also like 2 weeks in shipping, and I had to get to Germany in 2 days. So I asked one of my friends Alex for help, and he suggested I just use this, which he's done in his 211, which also has something like this. So this is a Arduino Micro, and it supports USB HID protocol, which is essentially like appearing as a native USB device. So it's pretending to be the touchscreen controller and is just talking to the GT911 chip in there to get the touch inputs and relay them back to the PC over USB. And I will close this up with electrical tape so that it never shorts again. Also, one thing you may have noticed is that this frame is looking neater than it did in my last video. So on my new Bamboo Lab X1 carbon printer, I've been able to print this all out as one piece. I do need to do some tweaks because, as you can see, the frame doesn't exactly mate up, and we have noticed that when I accelerate really hard in this car, sometimes the screen does pop out because it's not actually secured in properly. Hence why I've put a little bit of hot glue here to try and compress the frame against the walls of the interior here so that it hopefully stays in. I still need to move this control panel, so the hazard button is here and the power button is here, and then the rest of the buttons on this can become a digital overlay and we can get rid of the lower control panel. The CAN messages for the there we go. The CAN messages for the lower control panel will be emulated by the SAME MCU in the boot, which is on top of the PC and doing all the CAN communication already for the PC. Now, for those of you asking about the TCU project, which I'm now selling, you can check my last video about that, I announced it all. I will be doing a installation video on how to actually install and configure that TCU properly, because currently there's just an online guide, but I see that some people are actually having issues following that guide, so I'll actually do an in-person video about how to set this up. But speaking of which, I can show some little things that we've done here. I need to turn the ignition on for the TCU to wake up, make sure the AC's off. So let me just quickly connect to it over USB on here. Oh, there we go. So first of all, we have an updater UI, which is a brand new one. Oh, God's sake, my camera's not focusing. Come on, there we go. So I can read core dumps and back up the current firmware and back up the entire the entire flash storage of the TCU. So that lets you do that and also update the new one. This replaces the legacy firmware updater and crash analyzer pages, which were these two up here. So I've kept these two here for old firmware. Also, there's now a nice little about page here, which when run can tell me the hardware date of the PCB, so when the version hardware, and also the production date of the ECU, which is when I made it, as well as the software and the CAN matrix selected. But I do need to fix that because I'm not actually running EGS51, this is just a bug. Let's just quickly close this. Also added to this is in the map tuner page, we now finally, because I wrote a backend for the eGUI graphics interface, which is what I'm currently running for plotters.rs, which is another GUI project for plotting graphs and stuff, so that we can now actually do this really cool thing, which is 3D maps. So you have 3D map editor now on the config app. I do need to tweak the colors and stuff, but eventually it should look a little better. But yeah, this is actually so far coming along really well. There's also torque converter clutch adaptation map, which I can view here as to how many millibars it's trying to write or trying to center the torque converter. Again, can you please focus, camera? There we go. So this is low torque, so this is essentially like the pressure required to almost bite the clutch. It's like biting the clutch in the manual. And then we add pressure on top of that when you actually put your foot down so it locks up a little bit more, etc. And that's about it really for the config app. As I said, I will be doing a proper video about this at some point. This is just kind of a general like what I've been doing and stuff like that video, but I will be doing a proper video on this at some point in the near future. And, well, say this, the TCU. And also how to configure it and set it up and do all the diagnostic stuff for people who want to assemble their own boards, how I test them. So I do test all the boards that I assemble on my bench setup, but of course not everyone has a bench setup, so I'll work on a video showing how to test the board in a car to make sure the board is not faulty, and a bunch of other stuff as well. Now lastly, before I conclude this video, I thought I'd quickly show you guys what the PC mounting actually looks like in the back now that it's properly all secured and ready and drivable, etc., without it hanging out the back of the boot like it was last time. So, going outside, I'll just close the door. As you can see, it looks completely seamless. You do not see any hint that there's a PC in the boot, but popping open this latch here reveals the PC and I/O board running. That loud fan that you're hearing is actually the amplifier cooler fan, which is located in the back over there, but you can't see it right now. The PC fan is actually quite cool, and you can kind of see at the back there the blue flashing lights, which is the CAN communication, so it is receiving data from the car. But I just kind of have this all popped away, hidden, so you never see it, but it's always running. And eventually I might want to put some easy access ports here, so like USB and stuff I can just access through here, or maybe drill them out of this little piece of plastic so I just have USB ports I can plug in here when I'm diagnosing stuff or wanting to upload like stuff over USB to the computer. So anyway, I think that concludes it for this video. As usual, I'll keep everyone updated on Twitter and potentially posts on YouTube community to what I'm currently doing and what my next projects are doing, but do let me know if you want to see me do anything with this head unit setup, or ask me any questions about the TCU. I'd be willing to answer them out in the video description, but this has just been a very quick update video, so I'll see you in the next one hopefully soon. So goodbye.